Hello, I'm Johnny.
I'm Adam.
And this is Benji, and welcome back to our series where we invite you to follow us on our journey moving from a new build property to a 174-year-old cottage in the beautiful rolling hills of the Scottish countryside.
In the last video, after a long time looking, we finally found what could be our dream home. A cute, wee cottage nestled within the rolling hills of the beautiful Scottish southern uplands. It definitely ticks most of the boxes, and we were really excited when the seller eventually accepted our offer. We put our own home on the market and accepted an offer within days. But just as things were starting to go well, we had some bad news.
The whole thing is up in the air and the move could be in jeopardy at the moment. In Scotland, when you see a property that you're potentially interested in buying, you'll typically ask the estate agent for a copy of the home report, which is basically just a collection of documents that contain information about the property, such as the value and the condition of the property. Within the section about the condition of the property, it will list any repairs that are required on a scale of 1 to 3. 3 being the most urgent repairs. So the cottage that we're currently in the process of hopefully buying, there are, as mentioned in one of our previous videos, there are category 3 repairs, and as I said, 3 being the most urgent, and that is on the end stone gable wall, which has severe moisture, damp issues, which obviously will need to be addressed. So our mortgage advisor has informed us that some mortgage lenders will actually want any urgent repairs, category 3 repairs, to be sorted, or at least a quote obtained for the cost of repairs prior to them agreeing to lend you the money, basically. So she's advised us to contact a damp specialist and conduct a damp survey and provide us with a quote for the cost of repairs. So out of our own pocket, we're just about to do that. We'll arrange for a damp specialist to call out at the property and conduct a survey and see what they say. So they did say it would take around 3 days for the report to come back. Hopefully the cost won't be too astronomical. After doing a little bit of Googling online, we think it may cost around £5,000 to fix the damp issues, but you know, that's just guessing. Obviously £5,000 is a lot of money, but it's still doable at this stage if it does cost no more than that. So we'll have to wait and see.
So John is just on the phone to the damp specialist to find out what's going on, and by the sounds of it, it doesn't sound good. Let's go find out.
Okay, thanks very much anyway. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Not good?
So the initial quote for repairs for this damp end gable wall has come back between £11,500 and £12,500.
Oh my God.
Yikes. Which is really disheartening because obviously that's way outside of our budget. I think we'd initially thought that the cost of repairs may be a few £1,000, maybe £5,000 or something, but yeah, £12,500 potentially, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's too much.
I think we're going to have to reconsider our offer, potentially may have to even pull out and withdraw our offer.
I think we need to have a long chat.
It's not fair. Why does this always happen?
Benji, it's all your fault. You want to go to the countryside, don't you? Do you want to go to the countryside? Would you? I said you do middle instead.
I know, Benji. It's disappointing, isn't it? So who knows? The whole thing is up in the air and the move could be in jeopardy at the moment. Because we just can't afford that. Good morning. So after yesterday's bad news about the cost of repairs to this damp end gable wall, it kind of threw us by surprise a little bit, and we've slept on it. I say slept on it. I don't think either of us got very much sleep just thinking about it, but we've had a think about it anyway, and we decided we just can't afford that. That's £12,500. That's a lot of money. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the vendor's estate agent informally and ask if they would be prepared to accept a slightly lower offer. Basically, we're going to ask if they would be prepared to accept our initial offer, the one that they initially turned down. And although that obviously wouldn't cover the costs of the repairs, it would certainly help a little bit. And we are fully aware that the home report value of the property reflects the Category 3 urgent repairs, but I'm not entirely sure that the surveyor had a good understanding of the potential costs to repair this. I mean, how would you, unless you are a damp specialist? I don't know, but if the seller could drop the price a little bit, it would certainly help us out, and we may still be able to go with this. So we've actually finally received the survey back from the damp specialist, and it has a breakdown of everything that they've found whilst conducting the report. And I have to say that the quote has come down a little bit. Yesterday on the phone, they'd initially told me that it could be anywhere between £11,500 and £12,500 to resolve the issue. Yet the official report has come back, landed in my email box this morning, and if you can see here, I'm just having a look at it now, it says that the total quote would be just under £10,000, which is great. It's over £2,500, potentially over £2,500 less than we thought it was going to be, but still an awful lot of money especially when Adam and I had guesstimated it would cost no more than around £5,000. But interestingly, also, just having a look through this report, you can see here summary of their findings. Exterior observations are that the painted stonework on the exterior stonework has been painted, which can impair the breathability of the stone, potentially trapping moisture. So that's very interesting. Do we need to strip the paint off the outside of the cottage? I don't know. It's something we'll need to look into. Is this something that we could, some of these kind of elements of this quote, could Adam and I do ourselves? I'm not talking about the major specialist stuff, but things like stripping the paint off. Yes, it's probably going to be a time-consuming task, but can we do it ourselves to shave a little bit off the cost of repairs? What else? Cracks and deterioration. There are hairline cracks and signs of deterioration on the exterior wall, some of which exhibit moss growth indicating prolonged moisture exposure. So it sounds like this
kind of damp issue is nothing new. It's been going for quite a while, judging by their findings of the moss growth. Again, hairline cracks, is that something we can quite easily fix without paying somebody else to do it? We're not shy of a little bit of hard work. It's just, I've never done anything like this before, so I would need to swat up on it and find the best way to move forward with it. Chimney inspection. The chimney inspected using binoculars appears to be in good condition with ventilated cowls installed, so that's good. Interior observations, visible dampness and staining. The interior wall shows clear signs of dampness and staining, suggesting a significant moisture problem. So, so inside, it sounds like it's quite moist inside the cottage as well. Is that just moisture in the air? Is it perhaps just not being ventilated as much as it could be? Are there vents on the... I know it has fairly newish double glazing windows. Do they have vents in the windows? And if so, are the vents even open? I know a lot of the time people are tempted to close the vents because in the winter months it can let the draft in. I don't know. Surely there is a way to get rid of excessive moisture if it's within the air of the interior. Sulfate salts, the presence of sulfate salts, possibly emanating from the fireplace, could be exacerbating the dampness. What the hell, a sulfate? I'm guessing this is something that happens with properties with an open fire, a buildup of salt. I don't know. Well, when you think about it, salts do draw moisture and attract moisture, don't they? So if there is salt on the wall and it's drawing, and the air is moist, that would make sense. Moisture readings, high moisture readings were recorded throughout the wall from the skirting height to the ceiling height, indicating widespread moisture infiltration. Issues identified. Sulfate salts build up. Sulfate salts can draw moisture from the air, particularly in high humidity conditions, contributing to surface dampness. There we go. Okay. So get rid of those salts. How do you get rid of this? Just scrub it down? Soapy water? I don't know. We shall need to look into that. Penetrative damp. Moisture may be penetrating the wall from the exterior, worsened by the cracks and deteriorating stonework. Okay. Rising damp. There may also be rising damp where moisture is drawn up from the ground through the stonework, compounding the problem. Window reveal. It was noted during the survey that the upper portion of the window reveal showed signs of damage due to dampness. This area and also the ceiling area where the affected wall meets the ceiling should be stripped and all timbers inspected and treated for dry/wet rot as well as infestation. Here we go. Conclusion. The dampness in the right-hand gable side of the wall of the lounge is likely due to a combination of factors, including a buildup of sulfate salts, penetrative damp from the exterior, and rising damp from the ground. These issues are exacerbated by the high humidity levels in the living room, which further attracts and retains moisture. And then they've got a bunch of readings that don't really mean an awful lot to me, but I'm guessing they mean it's not good. Here we go. Rectification plan, if I can speak correctly this morning. Exterior rectification. Number 1, crack repair. Use an angle grinder to grind out the identified cracks in the exterior wall. Fill the cracks with a suitable mortar to restore the structural integrity of the wall. Can Adam and I angle grind the existing mortar from the exterior wall? Could we even do that and replace it with a suitable mortar? I've never done anything like this before. I don't think Adam has either. Could we learn how to do it and save a few quid? Or do we leave it to the specialists? Chimney inspection and repair. Conduct a thorough inspection of the chimney to identify any issues, repair any identified issues to prevent water ingress and ensure the chimney's structural integrity. Interior rectification, fireplace wall treatment. Apply a fungicidal and sterilisation wash to the affected wall to eliminate any fungal growth. Neutralise the salts on the wall surface using an appropriate salt neutralizer. So that's how we get rid of the salt. A salt neutralizer. I'll need to Google that. Prime the wall with Surf 1 to prepare it for further treatments. Install a chemical damp-proof course to prevent rising damp. Apply TS150, whatever that is, damp-proof membrane to provide an additional barrier against moisture. This isn't looking very good, actually. Install Polyshield 2 membrane for enhanced moisture protection. Board the wall with MS20 plasterboards to create a smooth surface, and replaster the wall to restore its appearance and finish. I don't want the gorgeous stone wall, which is part of the charm of the cottage, to be replastered. That will look rubbish. That's one of the things that kind of drew us to this cottage, the character and the charm it has, and the interior stone wall, unplastered, just as is one of the appeals. I really, really hope there's a way around this to resolve this without having to plaster the wall and damp-proof membrane it, because I'm not liking the idea of this. I don't think Adam will either. Window reveal treatment. Strip the upper portion of the window reveal next to the fireplace wall to expose any underlying timbers, and treat the exposed timbers to protect against dry rot, wet rot, and infestation. Extend this treatment approximately half a metre in width along the ceiling where the wall meets to ensure thorough inspection of treatment of the timbers. Wow, okay. So it all kind of makes sense. Now that I've seen it in black and white on this report, it makes sense. You know, how do the salts get on the wall? Is it just something that happens with open fireplaces? I don't know. But basically, we need to eliminate any fungal growth by washing the wall with a sterilisation thingy. And we need to get rid of those salts, which are absorbing the moisture from the room. And to minimize the moisture levels in the room, I'm assuming this is like moisture in the air or something, I don't know. To minimize that, the only way I can think of is ventilate the room well, fling some windows open, get a dehumidifier running. I don't know. Where is this moisture coming from? Is it just from people breathing? Or is it moisture from the current owners kind of dry and wet laundry inside the cottage on errors and things like that? I don't know. Is it moisture from the bathroom, showers, from the kitchen? Who knows? So all of that kind of seems, it's perfectly understandable. I just don't like the idea of having to plaster up the stone wall. That would be such a shame. There has to be another way. When you think of all of these old properties that you see, stone walls on the interior, even like old churches and things like that, they don't plaster up the wall. That cannot be the only solution. You wouldn't go into an old church, for example, and see that they've had to plaster the interior of the church, covering the gorgeous stone work because they had damp issues. There must be another solution. I'll need to look into that because I'm not having that. But the good news is, if this does need to be done, exactly as they say, these guys are the damp specialists. I'm not. So the good news is that it's the cost of repairs is a little less than we were told yesterday. So not quite as scary. Now, I think we're going to go back. As I said, I think we're going to go back to the seller's estate agent and ask if they'd be prepared to accept a slightly lower offer just to help out with the cost of these repairs. Because as I say, you know, £10,000, we just didn't budget for that really, and that's not even something, you know, we can kind of combine as part of the mortgage or anything like that. That would need to come out of our own pockets. I'm not convinced the sellers will accept a lower offer. They declined a lower offer the first time. Why would they now change their mind and accept a lower offer? I don't know. But I've spoken to our mortgage advisor, and she's basically told us, yep, go for it. All you can do is try. You never know. The sellers might now just be really keen to sell it at this stage, you know, and they might be prepared to reduce the price a little bit. I'm not convinced. And as you can see, I'm already on Rightmove looking for other properties to see what else is out there, just in case, you know, we end up not going for this one. But yeah, mortgage advisor says it's worth giving it a shot, and we can only just wait and see. So I will drop the estate agent an email now, and I'll let you know.
Does a Labrador want a Borneo? Does a Labrador want a Borneo? Yeah then, good boy. Was that nice for Labradors? Huh? There's no more.
So we recontacted their estate agents and spoke to them about the problems with the damp wall, and said basically that the price it's going to cost is going to be too much for our budget. So we put in a lower offer because of that to see what they'd say. And we just had a response. Let's go and see if Johnny's opened his emails to see if he knows. Have you opened your emails today yet?
No,
Well, you better have a look.
No way.
Yeah?
Seriously? Oh, that's brilliant.
They accepted?
They've accepted it. Yes. Brilliant. Benji. It's going ahead as planned. What do you think of that? Eh? What do you think? Oh, that's such good news, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Wipe the sweat from my brow.
Wow.
Seriously didn't expect them to go for that.
Well, that's one thing done anyway. Let's see what happens next.
That's good news. So it's back on the cards.
Benji, you move in. You move in.
Well, that was absolutely fantastic news this morning when we heard that the sellers have accepted our slightly lower offer. This will certainly help with regards to the cost of those repairs on the damp end gable wall. We're so happy because it means we can now move forward. We don't have to continue looking for other properties on Rightmove. And yeah, we can resume with figuring out ways to resolve this damp issue. Whereas, you know, this time yesterday everything was up in the air and we just didn't know whether we were actually going to end up moving to our dream home. So fantastic news. And to celebrate, Benji and I have come for a bimble out in the countryside. And it's quite a warm day here today. A rare sunny warm day here in Scotland. So we're hopefully going to try and make our way down to the river so we can go for a splash around. I don't know if we'll be able to or not though. It looks quite boggy around here, and also I've just noticed there are sheep down there, so maybe we'll need to try and find another way around. But yes, we're both feeling, or the three of us rather, are feeling very positive at the moment. Let's just hope we can get down to this river and we'll feel even more positive. Okay, I don't know if you can see just down there through the trees. You can see the river, but there are sheep in the field. Oh, Benji, why don't you try and find another way? Come on, back up. Yeah. One of Benji's favourite places, the local park. Just a short walk from where we live. Nice and peaceful. We absolutely love that bandstand. And you can just see through the trees there the remains of the old viaduct that steam engines would cross back in the day. Quick! We found the river. Come on then. We could see the river for quite a way, but we just couldn't see another way down. Is that nice? But we finally found somewhere for him to splash about and cool off a little. The last spot there was fishermen there, and we were warned that there could be fishing hooks just laying around, because apparently it's a popular spot with fishermen. So he didn't want a hook in his paw, obviously. It's a shame because it was the perfect spot. But we found this spot. Not quite as nice, but at least it can cool off. In the shade as well. Benjamin? Is that better? Benji, is that better? Huh? Are you nice and cool now?
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed following us as we slowly inch even closer to our dream of moving to the countryside. Coming up in the next video...
Oh my god, the comments on social media.
What have we done?
They're actually quite negative.
If you did enjoy watching, then please give us a like, drop a comment below to let us know, and remember to subscribe so that you don't miss our next update. And we'll see you in the next video.